Hello Stampers, Kelly Acheson at stampingup.com coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. Today I have a color challenge with the Color Fusers blog hop. So I've got a couple great cards to share with you and a sneak peek on this Pleasant Pheasants stamp set. This is a great fall stamp set with a really nice greeting in here, wishing you health, happiness, and the riches of God's bounty during this season and always, and also the happy Thanksgiving greeting. We've got a barrel of gourds with some pumpkins and other gourds around it, a viney leaf. We've got a wheelbarrow full of pumpkins and also these awesome pheasants. And I have to tell you, anytime we have pheasant stamp sets, it's one of the first things that I buy because I love making masculine cards with these. So gray granite, blueberry bushel, and blackberry bliss. These are the colors that I have to use in the cards that I make, and I have to use all three of the colors. Sometimes this can be quite a challenge, and I really enjoy that challenge. So let's get started. I'll show you the cards that I made and how to make them. I always like to bring in my card layers first. This is a card base of gray granite. This is 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm just going to fold it in half. Then I've got another piece here of blackberry bliss. This is going to layer on top. That's 5 by 4.25. I've got a piece of our Wood Textures Designer Series paper. This is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And if you are new to me, you have not seen this paper before. This is a paper stack from Stampin Up, and it is simply amazing with the gorgeous wood textures in here. I've used this paper a lot in my videos. Then I've got another piece of blackberry bliss. This one is 3 1/4 by 3 5/8, and another piece of gray granite that's 3 1/8 by 3 1/2. We've got a little piece here that's 3/4 by 2 1/2. This is Whisper White for our greeting banner. I'm going to bring in my paper piercing mat. This is a good cushion for stamping on. It also helps protect my work surface. And we can assemble a couple pieces right away here. Oh, look at, I have orange. Huh. That's weird. I don't know why my glue was orange. Must have had a little bit of ink color on the end of the paper piercer that I just popped the end out of my glue. Anyways, that was weird. Okay, we are going to add a little of this gorgeous gray granite ribbon. This is our 1/2 inch textured weave ribbon, and it also comes in Granny Apple Green. I love this. It's really, really nice to work with. So I like to tape my ribbon around the back here. And that ensures that it's going to stay put. I don't want my cards falling apart before they get there or after they get there, because that's just embarrassing. Nobody wants to see that, right? Okay, so I've just tied a little faux bow on here. Let me trim this one down a little bit. And we can add this right to our card front. This is a quick and easy card, even though it might not look like it. Okay, we're going to do a little stamping now. I'm going to bring in my Blackberry Bliss ink. And I have to tell you, the greetings that I'm using for my cards today are from the Healing Hug stamp set. And if you follow me, you've seen me use this set several times. It is a gorgeous stamp set. I love the font in here and the size of the Sending You Healing Vibes. I love this Get Well Soon. And I'm also going to be using the Wishing You a Quick and Complete Recovery, because I am at the age where I have friends and family who are having surgeries to, you know, replace things that are wearing out, like knees and shoulders and all of that. So I want to have some of these cards on hand should I need them. Oh, I did pretty good. I actually cut 2 extra pieces here, you guys, just in case this wasn't straight, because, you know, that can be kind of tricky sometimes. So I just want to have a bunch of these on hand so that when somebody has surgery or we have to go visit somebody in the hospital, I have a nice masculine card if it happens to be a man. Okay, I am going to leave the dimensionals for just a moment. We'll put dimensionals on the back of this layer, but we're going to grab the Versamark ink because we're going to do a little embossing. And I'm going to emboss these pheasants, this pheasant image. And before I do that, I want to use my embossing buddy. This helps keep the stray embossing powder off of my project. I'm going to bring in Whisper White. I should say white embossing powder. It's not called Whisper White, it's just white. So if you happen to be looking for that in my online store, you're just going to look for white embossing powder. You can also go right to my blog. You'll find all the products that I'm using for these projects today in a product list, and you just click on it. It'll take you right to my store. Makes it super, super simple. Okay. I'm going to emboss this with my heat gun, and I always like to give it kind of a couple puffs of air to blow off any stray embossing powder. There we go. I'm going to heat set this and I will be right back. Okay, that looks great. That turned out really good. Now, remember my color challenge. I have to use Blackberry Bliss, Blueberry Bushel, and Granite Gray. So I've got the Granite Gray here. I've got the Blackberry Bliss in my layer. But now what am I going to do with the Blueberry Bushel? And I thought, well, I can sponge on, and I'm just going to dissipate this a little bit. I don't want big globs of blue. So I'm kind of wiping a little bit of that ink off. I can sponge on some blue ink to highlight these birds. And then I'm going to take a tissue and polish off my embossing powder. I mean, the embossed, the heat set embossing. I don't want the blue ink to be on the white embossing. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh my gosh, that was so hard, right? Way harder than it needed to be. So there's my fulfillment of the Blueberry Bushel. Yeah, kind of sneaky, huh? Well, I thought it worked out pretty good. So we're going to glue these 2 pieces together. And then we're going to add this to our card front. And I see that I actually stamped my birds the wide way instead of the tall way. So I'll show you the other card with my birds the tall way. You can decide which one you like better. Now, the reason why I held off on putting these dimensionals on is because I wanted to show you that I'm not going to put the dimensionals on the ends of this banner. I need to move this one in a little bit, okay, because I don't want it to land on my ribbon. It'll kind of flop around. It won't lay nice if you put it on your ribbon, but I want my greeting to be right here. So I put a dimensional behind here and a dimensional behind here instead of on my ribbon. What do you guys think? Easy, quick and easy card, right? Perfect kind of card for a guy. Okay, I have one more thing that I want to do, and that is to stamp up the inside of the card. And I'm going to stamp my greeting. Just like that, wishing you a complete and quick recovery. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to do these leaves just for a little accent. And doesn't that look nice? My greeting's a little crooked, but hey, you know what? It's homemade, and that's the way it goes sometimes. All right, are you ready for the next one? It's just as easy. My next card is, again, another quick and simple card. I've got a card base. This is our thick Whisper White cardstock. And I have this as 4 1/4 by 11. I've scored it at 5 1/2 and folded it in half. Then I've got a piece of blueberry bushel that is 4 by 5 1/4. I've already die cut a stitched shaped circle out of this piece. And this is the second from the largest, or I should say the second from the smallest size. There are 4 different circles in the stitch shapes. So we've got these 2 pieces. Then I've got a piece of gray granite that is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8, a scrap of Whisper White, and again I'm using the Wood Textures Designer Series paper. This is 1 by 4 inches long. And I am just going to pop this in the triple banner punch and punch off that end. I love that I can get that perfect every single time. We are going to stamp, oops. We're going to stamp our pheasant, and I'm going to use Memento ink to do that on this scrap. I'm using Memento ink because we're going to color this in with Stampin' Blends. And you have to have Memento ink to color with those. Okay, so now I actually looked up a pheasant online to see what I was dealing with here and what colors I needed. And I found that our dark shaded spruce was a good color for my pheasant's head and neck area. And then I blended that just a little bit with our bronze Stampin' Blend marker, because I didn't want it to be such a bright green. I wanted it to be a little darker, and that was a good color for that. Then I'm going to come in with the Cherry Cobbler and do the pheasant's mask on his face. This little piece over here. I've got Dark Mango Melody. Nah, that's not what I wanted to use. We're going to see. I think I like this light Daffodil Delight for the beak. And now we have to come in and do his neck. And closer to the top of his neck is kind of a burgundy color. So I've got my Blackberry Bliss. This is the dark Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Blend. And I'm going to color right up here by his neck. I see I just went out of the lines a little bit, and that's why I keep my color lifter on hand, so I can lift off any mistakes that I make. And it also lifts color up to do highlighting and very cool things like that. But I just need to lift that color off a little bit. Then I'm going to come in with my bronze marker again, and I'm going to color right over top that Blackberry Bliss, so I can blend that in to the rest of the body. We're going to color just a little bit of the female pheasant, but we don't need to color all of her. Okay, then I've got an Old Olive, and this is the light Old Olive. And I'm just going to come in and add a little bit of color to these weeds, tall grasses, whatever you want to call them. See how much actually gets into what we're going to do here. I've got the Dark Mango Melody for the ends of these weeds. Oops, I missed one of the weeds. There's another one. Okay. then we're going to take our 1.5 inch punch and we're going to punch out this pheasant. Just like that. Remember, when you're coloring with Stampin' Blends, they do bleed through to the back, so you always have to kind of put them on a layer that you're going to put on something else so you don't see that. We're going to glue this circle right to the center of our blueberry bushel stitch-shaped framelit. Now we've got a little bit of stamping to do here. I'm going to take my big pheasant image and I'm going to stamp it right on the gray granite. And sending you healing vibes. Let's see if I can get this straight. Oh, I did pretty good. And then here is our Wood Textures Designer Series paper. Put that right in here. I also have kind of a surprise here. I happen to have some real pheasant feathers. I have an entire bag of them. My uncle is a big pheasant hunter, and I ask him every year, every fall, for some pheasant feathers because I'm hoping for a stamp set with pheasants in it. You can add these feathers to some other stamp sets projects too, but they make great embellishments for masculine cards. So now I'm going to take a couple dimensionals and add those to my colored pheasant circle, and I'm going to put that right here and add that to our next layer, which is our blueberry bushel. I always want to call it blueberry buckle. Do you remember that Gerber used to have a baby food called blueberry buckle, and it was a blueberry dessert, and I used to feed it to my daughter. Okay, now before I put this on here, I am going to stamp my inside greeting. Just in case I get it crooked, I can turn my card around and use the other side. Oh, that is kind of crooked, isn't it? So this is what I mean. This would have been our inside. Now we're going to fold it this way. This is going to be our inside. Let me test this out. Make sure that my stamp, that's why my stamp isn't mounted straight on my block. So that's what usually causes me some problems. And that looks much better. Okay, we're ready to finish our card. And see, you're going to just cover this up. Nobody will ever know that you made that little boo-boo. Okay, you guys, what do you think? 2 great cards using the Pleasant Pheasant stamp set with a combination of gray granite, blackberry bliss, and blueberry bushel. I like them. I'm happy with these cards. Thanks so much for joining me for this video today. If you can click up here, you'll head right over to my blog. You're going to find a blog hop with the color fusers on there. You'll be able to see a bunch of other cards made with this color combination. See what everybody else made. This stamp set will be available starting on September 5th. This is a sneak peek with a brand new set coming out in our holiday mini catalog. We have a ton of fall stamp sets and embellishments and papers, as well as Halloween and Christmas. It is an amazing holiday catalog. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to earn your business. You can pop me an email at kelly@astampabove.com. I will send you the newest catalogs, or maybe you just need the new holiday mini catalog. Let me know. I'd be happy to mail those out to you. Make sure you're clicking down here in the bottom right corner so that you will subscribe to my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss anything I have coming out. I've got a whole bunch of projects lined up with that new holiday mini catalog. Every Wednesday, I have a tip video on my blog at www.astampabove.com. And I just like to share great tips with stampers. And I also am on Facebook Live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time at a Stamp Above - Your Creative Coach. So make sure you catch me there. I give away 3 prizes of Stampin' Up! Products every broadcast, and it's like taking a free stamping class. It's a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with me. Bye-bye.